Welcome to the Hacking Your Health podcast with Ben Canning and Dave Kennedy. Two guys heading out to hack body, mind, business, and beyond. We are here to provide a single source, bullshit-free guide to understanding your body and how you can live better for longer.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to, an in real life episode of We Hack Health.
Welcome. Yeah. I can confirm that Ben Canning is actually a real person, and he is not.
I think actually we need to mention that because I don't want to offend any short people. It's not anything to do with short people. It's just you didn't want me to be a short person.
That's correct. Yeah. So before we get into the whole discussion here, I just don't think I could handle a small, short Ben was my biggest issue. So when he was getting out of the airplane, coming to, I was picking him up at the airport. I was like, okay, he's tall. I can pick him up versus driving off and leaving him there. So, it turned out to be tall Ben, which is very different than Cardi B that we have over here.
Yes, Cardi B Ben is here as well. So for anybody who is watching on YouTube, the three of us are here.
Yes.
So what's up? How's your week been?
Dude, it's I'm sore, I'm beaten down, I'm tired. We had hungover. I think all of those are key things that go into my mind when we talk about this week. But I thought it was a good week. I mean, we got a lot of good training in. All the BC fam folks came in and got some good lifts in. The We Hack Health folks came in too, got some good lifts in. And I thought it was really a good pretty good progression week, and learned some new things, got some new exercises that I've never tried before. We got into a pissing contest. We'll get into all that.
A number of
pissing contests. Yeah.
And I don't feel like they're over.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to continue. Ben and I just decided that we're going to be competitive with one another each time, and that went good. So it was a good week, though.
Yeah, it was good for me as well. Obviously, I haven't coached in a face-to-face capacity in just slightly over 2 years, so it was good to sort of do that. I felt like I was maybe a bit rusty at the start, like how do I do this? How do people work in real life and not on the internet? But yeah, I've had a lot of fun. I've learned a lot of new drinks that I like. Can we say about the
Captain Sin?
No, the other one, the offensive one.
What's the offensive one?
I guess we have to talk about it now. So there's a drink called an Irish Car Bomb.
Oh, the Irish Car Bomb. Yes, yeah, of course. That's a common drink here. Like that's not.
Yeah, but it's not a common thing at home.
Yeah. Well, so we for those that haven't known this, I have like a little issue with my throat. It's a hiatal hernia, which allows me to essentially keep my esophagus is open all the time. So it's been an amazing superhero talent, growing up, because I could take a beer and I can slam it in less than a half a second. So it's like, you've ever seen, like The Man Show, where you have Ziggy Zuggy that just sort of drops beers and things like that all the time. It's very similar to that type of thing. And so, we went out one night, and Ben can drink very fast as well. He may have a hiatal hernia, to be honest with you, but
what Dave's trying to say is, in 20 years, he has never been beaten, and I beat him.
Yes, but there are some caveats. Okay, so first of all, we're tied. Okay, you beat me first time, and I beat you the second time, so we're gonna have to have a tiebreaker tonight.
Which could be a total shit show. But anyway, yes. So an Irish Car Bomb is like a half a pint of Guinness with a shot of Jameson's, and then you drop a shot of Bailey's.
There's Bailey's, yeah. So it's a shot of Bailey's with Jameson in it.
Okay.
And then a Guinness, half cup of Guinness. And then you drop it in, and then you slam it. So yeah, we introduced Ben to an Irish Car Bomb, which I feel like you should know about that, but like
it's different.
Yeah,
it's a different thing.
Yeah. Must be an Americanized.
It is 100% an Americanized thing. Yeah, 100%. So anyway, we want to talk a bit about community tribalism today, which I think is a good week because I don't know about you, but for me, it was very cool having people fly in, spend time with a group of people that I obviously speak to on a regular basis. Like obviously we have weekly calls and seeing everybody in real life and everything. So it was very cool. And it was cool to hear what they get from the group that's beyond obviously just what you and I do.
Yeah, it was really neat. We went to a place yesterday that had these massive chicken wings. And,
I don't know what size the fucking chickens are here, but they're big.
The chickens were definitely yoked on steroids, I got a discussion with Jason yesterday just about, how the system that you built, I think for your training programs is awesome because it puts us into like a not too confined structure, but a structure that allows you to be successful, like understanding what's going on with your body, right? Understanding calories in versus calories out, everything we've talked about in this podcast. But the one aspect that's an intangible is the tribal aspects of things, of how, we're a community. There's a community and culture that comes along with that, right? People that are interested in your success and they rely off of your success as well. And it's this continual progress of making that tribe better that makes us all strong, I think, as a community. And, I talked to Jason yesterday about it, and it's like, yes, the workouts are great. Yes, the structure and program are great, but the people that we have and how we all rely off of one another for motivation and for contributing, or if they learn something new, or if they have a different technique for motivation, they share it with a group, and it's this group's mutual assured success that makes that culture, I think, work really well. And I think that's an important aspect to fitness and training and whatever your accomplishment are, even in anything in life. There's what's called the Dunbar number, which is was research done on early caveman days and how humans evolved into what we are today. And interesting enough, we're not the fastest animal out there. We're not the strongest animal out there. In fact, we're pretty weak to a bear, or pretty in comparison slow to a cheetah or a lion. So how did human beings end up becoming the dominant species on Earth? And the truth of the matter is, it came because of tribalism. It came from our ability to group up and want to help one another to exist and to live and everything else that comes along with that. So the Dunbar number is the average amount of people that a tribe had, in our prehistoric days and all the way up to caveman days and everything else that happened, from there. And it was around 150 people is basically what's kind of imprinted in our minds. And the tribe aspect and what, a lot of people are saying now around the research around this is that what drives human beings is that tribe aspect, because we were so accustomed to it for millions and millions of years, where we're contributing to a tribe or society or whatever it ends up being. And you see this a lot with like Gen Xers and Zers and everything else, where it's not just about the money that you're doing in your job. It's the fulfillment in life of being able to contribute to society to make things better. You see that with social justice. You see that with politics. You see that with, a lot of other aspects in people's lives where they're trying to help charities out and things of that effect. So noble causes or belief systems, religion, things like that all equate to, what we try to do as a society and a tribe to help one another. And I think, your fitness journeys, if I go back and I think, hey, where did I have a lot of failures? Well, I didn't have a tribe of people that I was working with to help make that community better and myself better at the same time. And that's why I think, if you're going on this fitness journey, it's really important to have that tribe or people around you that are continuously motivating you, that you're contributing back to their motivation, whether that's a workout buddy, whether that's a personal trainer, whether that's, a group of folks like our Discord server on the We Hack Health Discord server. All of those are different types of communities and tribes you can be a part of that help continuously motivate you to be better and for you to want to be better because of how we're programmed as human beings. And I thought that was on full effect this week, when we actually got to see each other in person. It was obviously in full effect on Discord and, our weekly meetings and things like that. But I really felt like, getting to see everybody and just joke around with one another, Mike now, who's named Todd, and, Mike was in an Uber and came to one of the places we were at, and some of the other guys went and grabbed an Uber and like, oh, I just drove this awesome guy who's really nice. His name was Todd, and it was Mike the whole time, so we nicknamed Mike Todd. So he's now Todd now. But those funny things that you have personal relationships with of people that become more meaningful and deep when you're in person. There's something to be said about that. I felt much more closer to the folks here, over the past week than I did, over Discord. And I think that's an important aspect of our relationship with food, with our health, with our fitness, and how we look at things and having that type of connection.
Yeah, I think, and I've mentioned this before, like one of my biggest, not fears, but one of my biggest concerns with moving everything fully online was losing that community aspect, because it was easy whenever I was on the gym floor because everybody was in, they could see me physically coach people. Everybody was usually in at the same time with me, and then they could see they were wearing branded hoodies or whatever. So it was easy to create that because everybody was there and they sort of knew each other and whatever else. And then I think as well, it was something that people were lacking at the start of whenever the fucking global shit show hit, that, they were lacking that interaction. So that's how the original weekly calls came about. And obviously over time they developed and the dynamic and everything's changed. But I think probably one of the biggest things just from having conversations with you is the industry you're in is big about community, and what I was trying to do is big about community. So being able to sort of bring those back in together. And I think, as we sort of said yesterday, like there is the aspect of you get something from being within the group in terms of like if you need help or whatever else, but there's a lot of fulfillment in being able to help someone else. And as we start to take in new people and bring on new people, and even just within the wider Discord, like the new people that come in and the people who've been in for a while, able to help those people, and then they feel fulfilled because they look at themselves as a person that they needed, maybe 6 months ago or however long it was. So it's cool to see them grow within that as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was talking to you, talk about community and kind of the information security industry, and I know there's a lot more folks that aren't just specifically dedicated to security in the group and everything else. But I was talking to Jason, and Jason was like, saying, hey, the reason why I went with Ben is because you had talked about it and you'd gone through it, and that's the appreciation I had because I trust you because you share things that are successful for you so that other people can hopefully be successful in their journey and what they're doing as well. And that's been a really big piece of me. Is that's how I feel a sense of tribalism, right? Is helping the security industry or helping other people be successful where I have struggled and hopefully learn from my mistakes or lessons that I've made. And obviously, the fact that you were there, you were focused on culture. That was a big thing when I first met you was, how do you approach, personal training? And I think the first thing you said was understanding what you're struggling with, right? And Jason said that's the biggest fundamental thing that I can't believe as part of this is that you sit down and you understand what their struggles are, how much time they have to dedicate, or what they think how much time they have to dedicate. They obviously have way more time than they think. That Jason said it too. He's like, when I started, I'm like, I can only give you 2 hours a week, and he's now, I think he's training 4 times a day plus 2 times of cardio, and he's like, I got my time. He's like, it's my, it's amazing, because he's like, I spend time with my family, and work is very demanding, and I just don't have the time to do it. But when you actually start to actually do it, you're like, well, I have more time. I have more time to do things I want to. But that community aspect, I think, really blended in well. And first of all, kudos for coming out here to the U.S. and meeting with everybody. I mean, you didn't have to do that, and you could have just kept it predominantly online. But I think it was important, for one, to make sure that you are real, that you weren't short.
The comment of that somebody thought that we were actually the same person.
That you weren't short, second of all, which is the most important thing here, probably. But just getting out there and being able to work one-on-one with everybody. So, for those that are just tuning in, what we had kind of planned was 2 days of in-person one-on-one training for anybody that wanted to come. That's part of the family group and the hacking group, and just getting everybody together and working on form, working on where your weak points are, and also I think giving you an understanding around where you can help guide their programs at, right, in what they're struggling with. So Jason said, I can't believe part of that is actually understanding what our issues are and what we're struggling with to get a lock onto that first and really build the habits around that to be successful moving forward. And, Jason's like, my life was completely changed. I was struggling with blood work. I was struggling with my health, and everything is like back to normal. Everything's perfect. He's like, hopefully he's cool. I'm sure he's fine with me saying this, but he's like, when I went to the doctor, he's like, the doctor said to me, the only thing that I need to do more of is drink more water. And I'm like, I'll take that. Sure, sounds good. I will drink more water. If that's the only thing I have as far as an ailment in my body at my age, that sounds awesome to me, right? I'm not worrying about cholesterol. I'm not worrying about my weight. I'm not worried about this, or that. And I think those are all important things that, you look at this and what you've been able to accomplish with the group. You created an awesome, amazing culture, right?
Yeah. And actually, this morning I had Jason, and one of the things we spoke about was whenever he first started, he suffered really badly from sleep apnea. Like his sleep was awful, and basically the doctor had told him.
I remember when he first came in, he's like, I'm taking a whole bunch of melatonin. I'm doing this. Yeah. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. But he would get maybe 3.5 hours sleep, and he says, over. However, I think he said at total now he's lost 75 or 77 pounds, and obviously as he loses more weight, the better that's becoming. And he basically said that the doctor said like it's something he's going to suffer with forever, and there was nothing that he could do about it. And he's like, "Fuck you! I'm going to sort this shit out." And he has, like, for him, he has, and he says that this is the first trip in I think 7 or 8 years that he has travelled without a CPAP machine, and sleep's been fine and everything. And that to me is. It's far beyond somebody who just wants to, get ripped for going on holiday. Like, it's literally, like, we talk about longevity of life and health and like how we can actually literally add years onto people's lives by taking control of it now. And I think, even talking about the in-person coaching, like, and the struggles, Some people wanted to understand what the intensity of a workout should look like. Some people just wanted me to look at their form, and it wasn't necessarily about, you know, drilling them into the ground in terms of like a really tough session. It's like, I just want to go low weights and actually how should this feel and whatever else. And yes, well, it's great in the check-ins being able to do video or whatever else. There's things that you see whenever you're in person, and even, you know, everybody hung out yesterday when I was training everybody, and I could hear or I could see people sort of listening in. And I know that if I was coaching, you know, Josh and somebody was looking in, that they maybe picked something up that would help them, because obviously in an hour session you can only do so much, but seeing, you know, 4 or 5 other people go through that they would take that home and see. So it was cool for me to do it, and it won't be the last time I do it, because I definitely enjoyed being in person and hanging out.
Yeah, I learned a lot too. I mean, just even like minor tweaks to existing things that I'm doing, whether that was, you know, the tricep extensions and just keeping my elbows a little bit more back in to get that full range of motion on the extensions, that I was kind of flaring my arms out a little bit, or, you know, just the minor tweaks that I can make to make my form better, to make things, you know, useful, or, you know, new movements that you put me through, which, you know, I'm still recovering from. But
cool to be so it was cool for me to be in this space, because I obviously see it quite a lot, and I know exactly what you can train with, and then building out your next plan, I can do it because I'm here and I understand.
And what new additional equipment I need?
No, I'm not taking anything to do with that.
I was going to get confirmation to take that soundbite and give it to Aaron. So that
no, definitely not. But then also, you know, being in that gym that we were in on Monday, I guess, like, to me, part of traveling and part of going to different places is being able to see different gyms, and maybe people think I'm crazy, but whatever. Like, that was a really fucking cool gym, and being able to do, you know, try different machines, and as awkward as it was on the adductor machine and whatever else, but it was cool to be in that different space and just see different places. Like, you know, that's what I love doing. I love training in different places and trying out different things. So it was very cool on that front.
You know, it's interesting from a transformational perspective, not just from a health side, but when we were there, minus when the camera crew was there, because when the camera crew, like, so we brought a camera crew in just to get some like B-roll of us, and I'll tell you, I haven't been that uncomfortable in a really long time, because, you know, you have all these people out there. The camera crew is great.
It wasn't you guys.
It wasn't you guys.
It was a Dave issue. It wasn't you guys.
But you got all these like weightlifters and these big dudes, you know, and they're, you know, and we're in there with the camera crew, and they're all like staring at you, and I'm like, like, all the attention is on you, which is like my fear of a gym is like everybody's staring at you after you drop a whole bunch of plates, you know, but I'll tell you, when the camera crew left and I was there, you know, kind of in my element, I was super confident. I felt great. I felt like I knew what I was doing. I wasn't, you know, putzing around or figuring things out. And that's always been my fear in like going to a gym, is like, you know, getting, I guess, judged by other people, which I mean, it probably sounds stupid. Like, who cares at all? You know, you're there to get fit, you're there to do whatever. But I've always had a fear of the gym. Like, that's always been mine. And I felt great when we went there. And we saw that one dude in the orange t-shirt. Man, he was huge.
He was a big fucking guy.
He was a huge guy. It's honestly the biggest guy I think I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, the thing with him was, it wasn't that he was just so big. I mean, his arms were bigger than my legs, or our legs probably combined. The guy was just massive pound of muscle, but he was tall.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you don't typically see, is like the really tall people that are just massively huge. And I mean, this guy was, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, he must have been 400 pounds of muscle.
Big fucking guy.
Yeah. And I mean, probably 6 foot maybe, you know, and just 400 pounds of muscle. The guy was just ridiculously big. But, you know, you got to see kind of all flavors. And this gym was, by the way, was one of the most coolest gyms ever. And I'd highly recommend, you know, if you are training at home, to go out every once in a while and just go to a gym, because it was really invigorating for me to be able to do different exercises, different types of things that I hadn't done before that are hitting my muscles in different ways. I will tell you, I'm still sore today, and it's Monday, and I'm never sore more than a couple days afterwards. Usually I'm not sore at all. I mean, I can tell my muscles are fatigued, but I'm legit sore, you know, for...
That's because we were idiots. And
we were okay, so there's a story here. So we were idiots. So Ben and I started getting competitive the very first day we started lifting together. And we started off here in my gym where we're recording right now. And we went to do rack pulls, which, you know, we're doing a pull day. And we finally start, you know, going back and forth with one another. And Ben loads on, I think it was like 525. And I have never done 525. In fact, I've never even been able to get the bar up from 525. I tried one time so that I can compete with Ben, and it didn't happen. I didn't send him the video because it was just me failing. And but I saw one of Ben doing, I think he did like 505 or something like that. And so Ben loads up 525, and he does 5 sets of 525. So I'm
five reps.
Sorry, not 5 sets. And then I'm like, okay, I got this. And I grabbed the bar, and in probably the most horrible, disgusting form ever, I get that bar up once. And it probably looked like my back was breaking. And
I have a video, Alex.
Yeah, let's pretend that doesn't exist. But I did get it up. But I definitely did not get 5 on the rack pull. But the second day on push, I beat Ben on bench press. But I will say, from a clear communication perspective, it was on a bar that is very unique, and he hasn't used that one before. So I would expect him to be a little bit weaker on a something like that. I think barbell would probably be pretty equal on that. And then the third day we went to the gym and did legs. We were doing fine up until we got to the leg press machine. Like, we weren't too competitive. We were a little bit here and there. Like, I do 10, I do 11, and we just kind of play off of that. But we got to the leg press machine, and then it quickly went to hell in a handbasket, because Ben would say, let's just say he would do 800, 10 times. I would do 11. And that was supposed to be like our last set that we were doing. So he's like, fuck this. And he goes and gets 2 more 45 plates, and then does 11 on the leg press. So then I do 12. So he's like, all right, fuck this. It puts 45 more on. And we just went back and forth. And eventually we got to like 1,000 pounds. And Ben knocked out 15 of them. And I got to my 7th one, and my legs literally failed. Like, they just gave up. Like I couldn't even. As I was coming down, I'm like trying to lock the brakes in time so that it doesn't smash my body and I die, which I know sounds horrible. It was controlled moving down, but lock it in. I couldn't do it anymore. So Ben definitely beat me on the leg press.
Yeah, I did. And anybody who is local here or ever in there, I definitely would recommend going to that gym. I mean,
place is incredible.
Tell me something that's more American, that you can go to the gym, get a protein shake, and buy some bullets on the way out. Like, what the fuck? So it's Old School Iron in Cleveland.
Old School Iron, yeah.
A very cool gym. So
Old School Iron in Brook Park, huge. Place is massive. I mean, they probably have 2,000 machines there. Yeah. And it's just huge. I mean, like, they have boxing areas, they have green fields, they have every machine you can possibly imagine. I mean, it was just an incredible facility overall. I loved it.
Yeah, highly recommend. I think even please correct me if I'm wrong, but even us training together and you seeing me train and how I actually move in the different movements has definitely helped what you were then doing after. And, okay, maybe you have to take the hit in terms of bringing the weight back,
down,
but how much you'll be able to progress and how much better the movement will be and what you'll get from it whenever you can get up to those weights, what that'll do for your training longer term.
It was nice to kind of emulate you as you're doing, like, let's just say, like, doing a row, seeing where your arms are at and your positions are at, because I don't necessarily get to see that, as I'm doing it myself. I focus very heavily on form, and I try to get better every time. And, for me, it's always like, where do I feel the pull in my muscle at? And being able to watch where your range of motion is and how you're hitting your muscle groups makes a lot of sense. And I learned a lot from various movements that we were doing. And, that one that you think you had us doing was on the cables across and, going across with some really good movements while you're sitting down. I mean, just some good isolation movements for muscle groups. And so, again, I thought it was a really good working week. But, again, going back to that whole team effort, I heard that continuously from everybody else that, they learned a lot. Obviously we learned a lot drinking. The captain sin. We went to a place yesterday, and they had these cinnamon. It tasted like cinnamon toast crunch with alcohol in them, and
it was delicious.
It was one of the best drinks I think I've ever had.
We're probably going to get one after this.
Yes.
But I think one of the things, going back to the community and the tribe, yes, okay, it's great sharing health stuff and whatever else, but going beyond that and being able to help, with work stuff or whatever people are going through, like, there was a lot more conversations that were going on that weren't just about fucking how many grams of protein they're having or whatever. Like, it's being able to actually, communicate with another human who potentially has been through similar issues or whatever. So it's cool for me to sort of talk to or hear or be in conversations with people talking about stuff that is beyond what we would ever talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think that human connection, goes back to how, I always get asked on social media, like, how can I start this, right? And, the first pillar that you ever talked about was mindset. And how do you get in a good mindset if the people around you aren't supporting you? If, everything around you is negative? You kind of have to make a shift in you to be successful and surround yourself with the group that will help you through your journey, and where you can ask questions and, feel vulnerable in certain cases, because it's the way for you to get better. I think that's all an important aspect to making this fitness journey and what you do from a lifestyle perspective, successful down the road. And, I was talking to Jason about this last night about motivation too. And he's like, he's like, when I was listening to the podcast, he's like, I was really interested in how you compete with yourself. And I said, well, I kind of compete with others, but they don't know it. And he's like, that's competing with yourself, basically. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And, but what's funny about that though is, the reason I'm competing with others is not because I'm actually competing with others. I'm not there to make them feel like I'm competing with them to, be better than them in any way, shape, or form. It's actually me competing with myself to be better at what I'm doing, to push myself further than I could. Like, a good example at Orange Theory is, I can easily... I
said Orange Theory as well.
We haven't talked about that. We haven't talked about that. We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second. There's some good stories there. Ben totally fell and made a huge scene. It was nice. Just kidding. But like when I go to Orange Theory, I can easily just coast and be on like a 6 mile per hour, 8 mile per hour and just chill, right? And still get a little, good cardio workout, but I'm not progressing. I'm not getting any better. I'm just staying at the same. And I'd rather challenge myself and rather compete with myself to become better, even if I don't feel it. Like there's times where I go to Orange Theory and I'm like, man, I don't even want to be here. But then I end up, PRing on things that I didn't do because I'm pushing myself even harder because I get in the right mindset. Our bodies are capable of so much more. So when you look at competition, it's not that you're competing with other people, it's that you're competing with yourself. And that's why I think like powerlifting is a great thing, because a lot of times when you go to a powerlifting event, you're competing with yourself. You're not necessarily competing with other people. You're looking at your own PRs. Same thing for resistance training. You're looking at your own PRs and competing with yourself to be better and to be stronger. So those types of motivations and those little things that you can kind of incorporate into your life make a lot of success. And I think I saw a lot of that this week where, how do people get motivated? I heard, different stories and what they do to stay motivated. Jason's a good example where, he wakes up, butt crack early in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning because, there's no distractions. There's no family, there's no work, there's no nothing. Everybody shut off. And then as soon as he starts getting messages coming in, he's like, okay, cool. My workout's done. It's time for me to start my day. So these rituals and these habits that we form that conform to our lifestyles, but also motivate us to go and do it are big things. And one of the ones that I like that he said, which I can totally relate to, there are certain resistance movements that I don't like doing. Split squats is a good example. Now, Jason still does split squats. I just completely got rid of those in my program, so I don't do split squats at all.
You're going to write me a new program.
Fuck. I'll be like, yeah, I did 12 sets of 12 split squats, and I just going to swap it out for something else. But what I liked about Jason was like, he does all of the movements he doesn't like doing early in the week. And then Friday is like his fun day, where he just puts in the exercises he wants to do that he loves doing. Like, for me, I love doing certain things. I love doing, bench press. I love doing, arms, for example, are fantastic. Shoulders, I love doing log presses with shoulders. I just feel like lifting something big and heavy. So like for me, my arms day is just all stuff I love doing. I actually enjoy and look forward to arms day because I know it's not super taxing where I'm doing like a massive compound movement like a deadlift, but at the same time, I'm like destroying my arms. They're getting bigger. They're fun movements and exercises. So like different tips can help motivate you in different ways depending on what you're doing, which I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah, he mentioned that to me today, that he found that towards his training split is Monday, Tuesday he'll lift, Wednesday cardio, Thursday, Friday he'll lift, Saturday cardio, Sunday off. And he found that coming into Friday, he was just beat up, fatigued, tired, not motivated, didn't really want to train. So his way around it was he'll put all the good shit towards the end of the week. So like if he opens up his app and it's like all this fun shit that he enjoys doing, he's not going to miss that workout because
it's an exciting, fun workout.
It's his favorite one. So, but like you said, being able to share tips like that other people, they maybe would just skip it or sack it off and like, I don't really like that. But it's just moving things about to sort of accommodate whatever that you need, if it's the motivation or the discipline or whatever. But yeah, it made a lot of sense from that.
It's interesting. Like I was doing that pretty much with my programming without knowing that I was even doing it. Yeah. Because I programmed it later in the week to be more, I guess, relaxing is the right word. I'm still doing muscle fatigue and everything else, but I'm not doing like the crazy heavy compound movements that I need to worry about. I get those out early in the week, and then the rest of my week is just fun stuff where I'm just burning out my muscles in different ways. So I did the same thing, and I never thought about it that way. But now that I think about it, like for one, I love push days. So my Monday is like my exciting day because I'm doing push, right? Whatever day push lies upon, I'm loving that day because it's just, I love shoulders.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
All push days. I'm going to have these massive chest and shoulders, but like nothing else, no legs, but no biceps or triceps, just straight, shoulders and chest. But like those days for me are like my favorite. So like Monday, I'm just starting off, boom. Okay. It's one that I like doing.
Because you had your one rest day of the week the day before.
Because I had the one rest day of the week. We're fixing that. But, But then pool, I don't like pool as much, just for the simple fact that I have tendency to have back issues. So like those are the ones I least enjoy. It doesn't mean I don't like doing them. It's not my favorite fun day. Legs, if it's squats, I'm good with. Deadlifts are hard. Like they're just hard, So like I think I least like deadlifts. I like the feeling when I'm done with them, that I accomplished something. I just threw all this weight down. But at the end of the day, I kind of dread deadlift days a little bit, and then the rest of the days I enjoy. So I guess I really like everything but deadlift. So I guess that's about it. And split squats.
I think that it's funny that it's funny how everybody's different in that sense. Like what I like about the gym, what I like about training is progress. So it's not specifically different exercises. Like there's nothing that I go,
that's a good point.
I'm not going to do that. I hate that. I like being able to progress in it. So you're talking about competing against other people in Orange Theory and whatever else. Like I become so invested in my logbook and what I did the last week and knowing what I need to get, and that bit of paper that says whatever the fuck I did the week before is what I compete with, and that's sort of where my discipline in getting better comes from. But it's not specific to, I really love this exercise or I really don't like this exercise. You do the exercise to get better, and that's how I would look at it.
That's a good point to bring up. I mean, the reason I think of split squats and I don't like them is just how jacked up they're hard. They're hard. But as was everything we did, in the gym, and I loved it, right? We went to the gym and we could barely walk out. I mean, like you literally needed an ambulance to get out after your 15 set.
Helicopter to get into the leg press.
There's video of that, of Ben not being able to get out of the leg press machine, but there's also video of me not being able to get out of the leg press machine. But I enjoyed every one of those movements, and it was something new too. Like we had done what was the one where we're kind of like floating in the air and you're kind of
pendulum squat.
Pendulum squat. I mean, that was really neat. Killer, by the way.
Have you ordered one? Is it going to be over?
Yeah, I got two just in case, just so you have two. I'm going to switch between the two to see if I could get, But no, I thought that was really, a lot of fun and exciting. Even though I was destroying my muscles and burning them out, it was fun and exciting, new, that type of stuff. So I think split squats for me is just more of I like to complain about them, but I'll still do them. But at the end of the day, obviously if you're getting stronger, I think that's the most important part about it, right?
Yes, split squats every day.
Except split squats. So let's talk about Orange Theory really quick.
Yes, I made it.
You made it. I will say there was a lot of complaining.
No, yeah, there was. But we had to go back. That you sent me a voice note. You were like, "I'm just checking if you want to do Orange Theory," which I translated to, "You're fucking doing it. Yeah. Just tell me what day you want to do it."
It was. That was my nice Dave way of saying, "Hey, we're going to Orange Theory. Which day do you want to go?" It wasn't really asking. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the girl, Jenna, the instructor, she was great.
Yeah.
She took us around, showed us everything. She pretty much told us what would happen, what she was going to say, what you would do, and then not to do that and not to copy you, and this is the way to actually do things. So that was good. But no, she was great. A lot of energy in the class. She asked me, was it everything that I expected to be? And I was like, yes, but I'll definitely not be back. But no, yes, there was a lot of complaining. It was tough. Yeah, I'll definitely not be back.
Well, I think you should share your goal, which was what? What was your goal when you went there?
To actually finish it.
Well, to finish it, but not to stop.
Not
right?
to stop. Yeah.
Not to stop. And you didn't. You pushed through the entire time. And the most amount of cardio that you typically do is 20 minutes a day, right?
Yeah.
And
you made low impact on the bike.
Low impact on the bike.
And that was not low impact.
That was definitely not low impact.
Not on the bike.
No, we did, 14 minutes straight of running, 14 minutes straight of rowing, and then 14 minutes straight in the gym, doing more higher rep, lower weight exercises, which that was pretty killer. I mean, we're doing the chest flies and the close grip, chest press.
I couldn't lift my water bottle. That was stuck to me.
They were done. Everything I was doing was, I end up doing I think a plank at the end, and because I was just like, I'm not doing another set of this stuff. So.
But no, I mean, yes, I made it through. That was me. You're talking about being out of your comfort zone, being in a gym with a camera crew. I'm out of my comfort zone doing any sort of cardio. So we did it. And you did agree that when you come to Ireland, you're going to sea swim in the fucking cold ocean.
I said, like as a compensation package of you going to, Orange Theory, that we would go and I would do the whole swimming in the ocean. Even though I hate cold, it's going to take me like 45 minutes to get into the water. Just throwing that out there. Because it's
cold on the outside of the water as well.
Is it? Okay. Well, that doesn't matter. Like my biggest thing is like getting I hate cold. Let's just put it that way. It's going to take me a while to get into the water.
What you're trying to say is getting past your waist is the hardest bit.
Yeah, the waist. Yes. Yeah.
You just need to dive in. I'll show you. You'll be fine.
So there's definitely that.
Wetsuits, and we're going to go in like swim shorts.
Yeah.
It'll be cold. It's fine.
Yeah. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of cold and weather, last night we got back from the bars at the Vault, and I went to go lay down, and it was nice because like I think we were home by like midnight or 1 o'clock or something like that, and I didn't have to get up till 8 in, which is nice for me. And you probably had to get up a little bit earlier, but I just bought this new chili pad thing, and I bought just a little quick sleep hack here really fast. We've talked about this previously in podcasts, but I have this pad that has water in it that has like a little air conditioning unit, and it sends cold, throughout the whole night, and it's been totally revolutionized my sleep. Like I sleep much more sound. Well, this new one that I got somehow is bugging out. It must have a bug in it or something, because the way that it does it, which I really like a lot, is it will start off at kind of a lower temperature, but not too cold, so you're not like getting in your bed and freezing, and then it gradually reduces your temperature overnight, so that as you're hitting your REM sleep and everything else, you're at a super low temperature, and it keeps you cool, easier for your body to manage those states. And then as you start to wake up, it increases the temperature to wake you out of your sleep. So I actually naturally wake up now, with this. Well, there's a bug with it or something, and so at like 2 o'clock in the morning, someone's hacked my chili pad. It's putting up to max capacity at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So like at 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up like wide awake, and I'm just dripping in sweat. And like the app is broke, so I'm like trying to turn it off, and I'm hungover. I'm not feeling great. I'm like, all right, let me just unplug this thing. I unplug it, then I go back to sleep, and then I didn't wake up, and it was just a disaster last night. So my sleep last night was not good because of that. So just an FYI.
But recovery better than the day before, which is interesting.
Yeah, so I hit a high of 44% recovery this week. Which is not good, That's just, but it's much better than my 22% recovery the other day.
Yeah.
So
we put it down to the overtraining, the excess alcohol, the lack of nutritious food, and hanging out with me, I think.
Yeah. You've been a catalyst for I'm just gonna say like I'm gonna say my recovery was 100% each day. That I ate 360 grams of protein, no fat and no carbs the entire day, no alcohol. See how that goes in check-in.
It's all lies.
Yeah, it's definitely all lies. This week's check-in is definitely a write-off for that. But listen, when do I get to do that? When am I regimented? I'm so regimented in all this stuff. So a week of just going out, and I was still pretty cautious of food. We still ate a lot of food, but it was good stuff. We're eating whole foods, we're eating chicken. I think I had like 3 fries, just to try them out. So I stayed pretty well with that. Obviously, the alcohol consumption and those Captain Sins were probably not good on the amount of sugar that we're having.
We can ask them about that this week.
Yeah, can I get the calorie breakdown of
how many calories is in this? Okay, can I have 15 of them?
Yeah. There's your calorie account for the entire week.
It was funny though. Like obviously I talk about nutrition and we talk in the group and whatever else, and people have their own struggles. But it was interesting to see how people actually process it whenever they're in real life. And I don't think it would have been any different because of the fact that I was there, but I think one thing that, and you can maybe agree with me or disagree on this, like over time as you go through this process, you just look at food differently, so you make choices differently. You will look at how the food's sort of broken down versus what it actually is and whatever. So it was interesting to see that in real life, and yeah, it totally went out the window whenever we started drinking. But
yeah, I mean, when I started looking at, for food, I'm like looking at calorie count. I'm looking at, hey, what's going to have more protein for me to be able to have? And even though I was basically not counting calories because, it's kind of the way it's hard to judge when you're doing all that with the drinks and everything else. I'm like, well, where can I get my highest source of protein? Hey, I'm kind of tired. Where can I get carbohydrates for energy? Good source of carbs. So, I remember one of the meals I had was, 2 chicken breasts, rice pilaf, and some broccoli, right? So good balanced meal, for everything that we're doing. And then another time, I was like, oh, hey, I'm gonna have a buffalo chicken wrap instead of, a pizza or whatever it ends up being. So I, just trying to balance the food that I eat, while and being cautious of it. And yeah, did I eat as healthy as I typically do? No, but at the same time, you can't always do that. So it's it's having more better days than not than as you go through this process.
Yeah,
I think.
And I think that again, the initial call that I have with everybody, I'll always tell them that I want this to be something that they can do forever. And I realize that you will hang out with friends, you will go away, you will go out for meals, and all those things need to be something that you can manage. And it's not like, I know from my own experience, whenever I used to train with Callum and I used to be on a meal plan, I used to Tupperware, everything was weighed out. If I was taken out of that situation, I was a fucking shambles. Like, I obviously know nutrition, I know how to track my food, but because I was so so regimented, and then I come out of it, I would just completely go off the rails because I'm like, well, fuck this meal up, and then the whole thing was written off. So I think find the balance between, you know, being in control of your food, but not being a total fucking robot with it, that you can actually go, okay, right, well, I'm going to do this for this couple of days and know how to manage it.
I think the biggest takeaway, and I mentioned this before on the podcast too, but I remember there was like a poker night where I had gone way over on calories. You know, I messaged you the next day like, I'm a complete, you know, failure. You know, I messed it. You know, the progress that I've had from then to now, because like I was in the same situation because, you know, of COVID. You know, I was home every single day. I could prepare all my food. I could do this. I could do that. But then as soon as you start going out with friends, it's like, okay, well, you know, it kind of goes out the window a little bit, and you can still manage that. But at certain times, you know, there's going to be issues where you run over calories or whatever. And I think, you know, like this week, I had no issue with that. You know, it was a conscious decision where I knew like I'm not going to sit there and bring a Tupperware, you know, thing to you know, a restaurant and go eat, but I'd still try to pick what I possibly could that would be healthy. You know, we went out and had smoothies, we had a wrap, you know, those types of things to try to keep it within balance, within moderation, but not go too overboard. You know, we didn't go out and eat a bunch of cake and, you know, stuff like that every single day. It was really...
I haven't had any dessert at all, actually.
I'll have to fix that. We'll have to get that today.
More drinks?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I got an idea.
But one thing I did actually notice is in all the places that we've been, like 90% of them had the calories on the menu. So anybody who says that they can't calculate that or being out or know how to like, we went for breakfast in whatever the first watch, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I've just done Orange Theory. I need foods, like I need to know what. So I think I got 2 meals, and one was 700 calories and one was 900 calories. But I knew we were going to train later on in the day, so okay, yes, I've probably overeaten on calories, but I've trained, you know, back to back for the past 7 days. So I think my body hates me, but I definitely used it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, what's great about First Watch is, you know, they list all of the calories. Most of the places we did, you know, we went to listed all the calories, and then if you couldn't find it, you could go to their website and they had all the calories on there. So, you know, it is definitely possible to go and do it, right? And I think, you know, if you it's a matter of making sure you stay consistent with it. I know for a fact, you know, tomorrow when you're gone, you know, I'm going to start back to my day of detox. Definitely detox. I'm just going to only do protein. That's it. I'm going to go on a protein only diet. But it's one of those things where, you know, I'm go right back to my normal routine of what I know works and is successful. We had a great week. It was fun. You know, we trained hard. We worked hard. Guarantee you, you know, from a gaining perspective, I'll have some massive gains. I'll tell you, like, I was telling Jason this yesterday, where when we were up to 4,000 calories, I felt freaking amazing. You know, like the amount of energy I had, the amount of PRs that I was getting, the amount of how fast I was building muscle. Like it was such an incredible experience just getting up to pushing calories. You know, and now that I'm down, my body's levelized and normalized with it, and I still have really good energy levels, but nothing near when I had 4,000 calories, right? And so I think you kind of need that every once in a while, just like pushing yourself a little bit and seeing how far you can take it and all that stuff. But that's, again, another perk of having a personal trainer, I think. So
somebody who can tell you that that's actually okay.
That's okay, yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
But that's another point. Like you wouldn't have, and I think that's an important point to note, because you know, people who feel like they have a lot of weight to lose, they think, okay, I just need to be in a calorie deficit. But there's only so long you can do that for, and having someone to go, okay, look, we're going to actually take you out of that, and even bring you back up to a maintenance level, you'll feel much better because you have that additional. You know, I've started to introduce calories, and like, it's 100 calories, and like I feel fucking great, and I'm like, yeah, imagine what we're going to be like. We've got another 1,000 or whatever else. But people get so fixated on calorie deficit and weight loss that they don't realize that actually, you know, if you come out of that for 4 to 6 weeks of a diet break or whatever way you want to sort of phrase it, bring your calories back up to maintenance or even to a slight surplus, what you can do in that amount of time will probably actually push you that little bit further into fat loss. And I'd actually be surprised, I don't know if you're actually going to check in or whatever that's what it'll look like, but I think I'll be surprised to see, you know, I don't imagine you would have gained a lot of weight because you had those additional calories, but we also used them with... Yeah,
we were always constantly on the go. Yeah, and constantly working out, constantly doing other things. Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree, feeling great on plenty of calories. And I probably did eat more than I usually would, but again, I trained hard. I hit some new PRs or PBs if you're in the UK. And, you know, I feel full, like my body feels full and I feel good for it. So I'm not, you know, I've used it.
So I guess, you know, wrapping things up on the podcast side, you know, one of the biggest things I think to take away from this is find a tribe, right? Find folks that will motivate you, whether that's your spouse, your significant other, whether that's, you know, friends around you, a workout buddy or partner, you know, online community, like, you know, obviously the We Hack Health, we're all about positivity and helping others out and kind of motivating you. You know, find something that you're contributing to as part of that tribe, whether it's sharing knowledge or sharing your experiences or whatever it is, I think that you can relate that to anything in life, whether that's, your success in cybersecurity. My success in cybersecurity is because I'm so focused on community. I'm so focused on helping others. I'm so focused on contributing to something that's larger than me to make it better, right? And very similarly to how I've approached the hacking your health stuff and what we're doing with the podcast and working with you is just always getting my experiences out there and sharing your experiences so that other people can hopefully make the right call and make decisions of what they do. And I think that tribe aspect is so critical to anything that we do, especially around, fitness, our health, our careers, our tribes are obviously our families. So all of those things are so key to our success and how we're wired as human beings.
Yeah. And I think, anybody who isn't in the Discord or is, if you're not, get into it. And if you are, be more active in it, because there's a lot of, as we said, there's a lot of fulfillment in helping other people and getting things from that. And as you said, having a place that you can go to with people with a similar mindset, if you're struggling, if you're doing well or whatever it is, it's absolutely key. And it's funny because I would describe myself not as a people person at all, but if I have the right people, then I really can be.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Cool. See you next week.
Awesome. See you next week. Well, hey, you're gonna be in. Are you gonna be back home by next week? Okay, so we'll be back
normal for the 31 people watching. And
yeah.
Just on the screen.
That's right. Well, hey, good training sessions this week. Good time this week, and Ben is tall. Ben is big.
And we're going for a drink right now.
Yeah, we're going for a drink right now. So hey, thanks all for listening to Hacking Health Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, social media, Discord, everything else, and we look forward to next week's podcast as well. So hopefully you enjoyed, and this in-person special U.S. America made in-person Dave Kennedy's gym with Ben. So appreciate it, everybody.
See you next week.
Later.